Alright, welcome back, everyone. The NFL free agency period, where pretty much all the top guys get signed, is over, and I'm going to recap that. We're going to start off with the offensive side of the ball today, and next time, probably going to be Saturday, I'm going to post my video on the defense side, because I have another video planned for Thursday. Starting off with the QBs. Tyrod Taylor signed to Houston. Really like the move because I feel like Taylor can be either a good bridge QB to a younger QB that eventually takes over if Deshaun Watson leaves, or he could be a good backup to Deshaun Watson if Watson stays, which is looking really unlikely. But we gotta remember it's always a possibility, right? So, moving on, I'm gonna go in depth about the Matt Stafford, Jared Goff trade in a bit. Not this video, next video. Also, not next video, but a future video. Also, gotta talk about Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston, all that. So, be on the lookout for those two videos coming out pretty soon. Or relatively soon, I should say. Jacoby Brissett signed with the Dolphins. 1 year, $5 million deal. Probably just going to be a backup QB to Tua, but who knows if Tua ends up starting off slow. Brissett is capable of coming in being a good starter. Now looking at, I just want to quickly go over this because I don't want to spend too much time on this. Fitzpatrick signed to the to Washington. I'm not going to refer to him as the football team without cracking up, but yeah. Fitzpatrick, again, same thing like Tyrod Taylor, capable of being a starter, but probably is going to end up being a bridge or backup QB. Trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody, because I feel like I probably did. Why is it so long? Oh, yes, Andy Dalton. That's who I missed. Andy Dalton signed a 1 year, $10 million contract with the Chicago Bears to be the starting QB. Well, that's what he said anyway. So, right now looking as if Andy Dalton is Chicago Bears QB. If the Chicago Bears can find a good QB, it's a playoff caliber team. But until they do, the Bears are going to be nothing more than a 5 to 8 win team. That is not going to cut it if you want to get into the playoffs. Well, maybe in the NFC East, but every other division, nope, not going to cut it. This year, Bears are not. I'm sorry, every Andy Dalton fan out there, but Andy Dalton is not the same player he was back in Cincinnati. His prime is past, and Andy Dalton, even while playing 11 or how many ever games he played in relief of Prescott, did not do very good, and I'm not too sure that he's gonna be much more than a backup in the next couple years. So, if the Bears can find a good QB, they're a playoff team for sure, but until then, nothing more than 5 to 8 win team, as I said before. Moving on to the running backs. Aaron Jones re-signed with Green Bay on a 4 year, $48 million contract. Now, did Green Bay overpay him a bit? Possibly, because the running back market, as we've seen with some other running backs, paying them big sometimes, a lot of the times, especially recently with like Zeke Elliott. I'm sure it's only 1 year, right? Like where he did not play well, but I don't know. I just feel like the new age is you can't really pay running backs too much, and I'm sorry for all the running backs out there, but that's kind of what it's leaning toward. So contract wise, did they overpay? Possibly. We'll have to see. Chris Carson got a deal done with Seattle to return back to the Evergreen State and where I reside. Really happy that Chris Carson is back with us, and he will continue to be the number one guy in our power rush plan that probably isn't going to work unless we get Wilson some help on the offensive line. So, yeah, it's because the repeating cycle that goes on for the past 3 or 4 years is that we get all these guys, but nobody to help us, and we lose in the playoffs, or we don't make the playoffs. So that's their cycle. Philip Lindsay signed with the Houston Texans on a 1-year, $3.5 million contract, I believe. Really underpaid for somebody who's as good as Philip Lindsay is, but I think that I honestly don't know why he wasn't paid more, because Philip Lindsay is a much better running back than his stats show, and he was playing alongside Melvin Gordon last year, so of course his stats are going to be much less than somebody else who's like the lead back, right? But I feel like Lindsay has a lot to offer, and the Texans are going to have an upgraded ground game if they can get a decent O-line ready next year. Rounding out, actually, you know what? I'm not really going to talk about Kenyon Drake. He's nothing more than a backup to Josh Jacobs. We're just going to move on to the wide receivers. Kenny Golladay signed a 4-year, $72 million deal to the New York Giants. Did they overpay? Yes, but it's kind of a move they needed to make with Daniel Jones entering the, third year? Third year, I believe, of his career, and you gotta figure out in these next 2 years, is Daniel Jones worth keeping around or not, right? Because do you want to pick up his 5th-year option or not, right? That really signals whether you're keeping him around long term or not. And I really feel like getting Kenny Golladay and getting Saquon back from the injury, that's really going to help. And you can have a plethora of weapons: Barkley, Golladay, Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram. So if Daniel Jones can't do something with this, we know he ain't the guy for the future. But if he can, Giants are playoff caliber. I mean, their defense was pretty underrated last year. I really like what they did defensively. Maybe get in some guys from the draft, and you're looking at a potential playoff team in that wide open NFC East. Will Fuller signed a 1-year, $10 million contract with the Dolphins. Will Fuller will come to play in Miami. Much better weather than Texas, in my opinion. Just really hot in Texas, and Miami during the season is pretty good. But yeah, Fuller will play with Tua Tagovailoa, and I feel like this is a good move for him, the speedy wideout, getting to play with the young QB, and it's going to get Tua some more weapons with Fuller, Devonta Parker, possibly Jamar Chase, and if they can get him in the draft. So definitely a lot of positives for Dolphins fans out of this move. Last move is Juju coming back to Pittsburgh on a 1-year, $8 million contract. Not sure how happy Steelers fans are with this, but if Juju can stop dancing on logos, then I feel like this is a good move. I'm really surprised he turned down offers from the Chiefs and the Ravens. Chiefs one I'm really more surprised about than the Ravens. You have Patrick Mahomes, your QB, you're almost guaranteed at least a Super Bowl berth, if not a championship trophy or a championship ring. So I'm pretty surprised he went back to Pittsburgh, considering the uncertainty revolving around Pittsburgh's team. And sure, Roethlisberger's coming back for a year, but how well will Roethlisberger be? There's pretty much no good running back on the roster right now, with James Conner not signed yet, so there's a lot of uncertainty with Pittsburgh. And moving on to just a couple of additions on the O-line. Joe Thuney went to the Chiefs. Going to be nice for Mahomes to get some extra protection. We definitely saw in the Super Bowl how the Chiefs' lack of protection really came back to bite them, with their 2 starting tackles, Schwartz and Fisher, out. And Bucs took advantage of that, so getting Thuney, great work, but still feel like they have to get some guys at the tackle position as well. Corey Linsley signed a 5-year, $62.5 million contract with the Chargers. Gonna get Justin Herbert some extra protection there. And Trent Williams re-signed with San Francisco for a 6-year, $138 million contract. That is the biggest contract an offensive lineman has ever received in NFL history. But my only concern with that is how well is he going to play once he gets into his late 30s, right? Because the contract goes until, I believe, he's 39. So how well is he going to play in those age 37, 38, and 39 year? That's my concern. But thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to to like and subscribe from you, and share with as many people as you can. Tell a friend, and then tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you all so much for watching, and be on the lookout for my recap on the defensive free agency signings. And peace.